Good evening, everyone, and thank you for joining us for this special night with the BDR Founders. I'm Ina Thorne, Executive Director of the BDR organization, and I'm here with Paul Gillian and Tom Myers of TourTech USA, and our local map and trails nerd, in the best possible way, Bryce Stevens. And together with Sterling Noreen, our filmmaker, they launched Backcountry Discovery Routes 15 years ago. And we're broadcasting live from the TourTech USA headquarters in Seattle, Washington. This is the birthplace of the BDR organization. This is where it all started. In fact, we lived rent-free in the upstairs loft at the TourTech offices for almost over a decade. And the BDR headquarters office now located just down the road from here. So we wanted to mark this milestone with the founders for a number of reasons. Number one, 15 years is a huge achievement for a nonprofit organization. In these 15 years, we have created 21 BDR routes and over 21,000 miles of free adventure tracks for the motorcycle community. Second, we've made some major improvements for the original Washington route. And we want to share those with you through a short documentary film that the founders filmed this summer when they got together and rode the new Washington route. And finally, we want to talk to them about how it all started, what they envisioned in the beginning, and how they feel about the future of the BDR organization.
Yeah, excellent. If I can jump in.
Yeah.
So this is a live broadcast. Anything can happen. So sometimes there's little gaps and it has to fill in. Just be patient. If that happens, we will hopefully come back to you. And I also want to throw a shout out to our friends at Triumph Columbia River. I understand they've got some little customer night going where they have people in the dealership and they're watching us. So thank you for the support, and thank you, Triumph, for all of the support. We really appreciate it. You want me to talk about the fundraiser?
Every BDR broadcast has a small fundraising component to it so that we can continue creating more routes and preserving riding opportunities for our community, and this broadcast is no exception. So Paul, tell us about the special tonight.
So really exciting. So this year, Triumph has stepped up and they have contributed a Triumph Tiger 900 Rally Pro for our annual sweepstakes. So one of you lucky folks out there in the audience can win this bike, and I have to say this bike is an incredibly capable machine. I had the good fortune of chasing Bryce Stevens for a week in the Montana backcountry as we were filming our latest film. The bike is super capable. It is a blast to ride. It was really hard to keep up with Bryce when he was on it. So we've taken a really good bike, and then our design team has created this Founders Edition concept. So it has this nice little plaque on the gas tank with a really nice statement about the original vision of the BDR and where it's gone in the last 15 years. It's signed by all of us founders. And then we have upgraded this bike with some unbelievable suspension. This has got TourTech suspension, closed cartridge system in the front, and then it's got a TourTech Extreme shock in the back. So this is some of the best upgrades you can get for riding off-road like a BDR. We've put a luggage rack on this, so it's got a Zega Pro pannier system to haul all your gear. It's got a quick release headlight guard. It's got radiator guards. For navigation, it has got the Garmin Zumo XT Pro, or the XT2. So this is kind of the premier navigation unit for riding BDR, for handling tracks, screen that you can see really well in the daylight. And what's really unique this year is we have not only this bike, but we have this really incredible experience where you get to ride for 2 days with 6-time AMA motocross champion Jeff Stanton out there at his facility. And we've done something special for tonight. So if anybody donates $100 or more to the sweepstakes, you get, number one, a chance to win this amazing bike. 2, you get this special limited edition Washington BDR shirt. These are no longer being produced, so we have what we have. And if you kick in $100 or more, you can get the shirt, and you'll get the new Washington BDR 2.0 map. So this is the normal BDR map, but it is of the new and improved route that we're going to show you tonight. And they're at the printer now, so you will be among the first to get them. So give back to the BDR, enter to win that amazing motorcycle. Do it tonight so you get the extra perks that come with it.
Yeah. So now let's take a step back in time. Take us to the beginning. How did BDR come to be?
So BDR came to be back in 2009. I joined TourTech USA as the general manager. I had some experience with motorcycles, but not really much in the adventure motorcycle space. So Tom came to me and he said, we've got to get you up to speed, Paul. So he offered to take me on this ride, a week-long ride, camping off the motorcycles on this obscure route through Oregon, which was called the Oregon Backcountry Discovery Route. It's a route that Tom had ridden, I think, once or twice in the late 90s, early 2000s. And so I said, yeah, that sounds pretty good for my new job to go ride motorcycles in the backcountry. But being a marketing guy, I thought that it was really important that we brought a photographer along with us so we could capture this, create some content, maybe do a magazine story. And then I wanted to bring a film person with us so that we could create some videos to help, showcase this and use it to drive the TourTech USA business. So we had the good fortune of getting Sterling Noreen to come join us to do the film work. And then we had Helge Pedersen come along as our still photographer. The deal was I had to cook and do dishes. Those guys would run and shoot. And Tom was our fearless leader. And we went and had an amazing time in the backcountry for, I think, 8 days. We took that footage. I wrote a story for Roadrunner magazine, which was the first article published on the BDR. And then we created this YouTube short that we showed here in our store in Seattle. We played it in trade show booths at international motorcycle shows, throughout the U.S. And then the main thing was really just this YouTube short that was out there on the internet for everyone to see the good time we had in the backcountry. And I think this is where the story goes to Bryce Stevens.
Yeah, so I got a hold of that YouTube video was being shared around and the story, and started learning about this Oregon BDR route that was, for adventure motorcyclists. I just bought a bike. I was like, okay, this sounds pretty cool. And then it dawned on me, like, why isn't there one in Washington? So as I was getting used to riding this bike and getting excited about riding, I decided I would start creating a route. So I got together with friends. We created a route. Said we would go scout this thing, and about that time, Andrew, my friend who was also getting into adventure riding at the time, said, hey, why don't we take this down to the Overland Expo and present this as part of their Overland flag competition. And I thought that was a great idea. I thought we had a good project that could potentially win this thing. So long story short, yes, we went down to Arizona. We presented this. We won. I think we got a token $200 or something crazy like this. We still laugh about this to this day. But what it did is it got us excited about taking this to the next level, and we were going to create a film that we could take back the next year and present at the Overland Expo. And anyway, so at the show, Don Stefanian, just a random person, didn't know this guy, comes up to me and says, hey Bryce, nice to meet you. You guys are going to be making a film about adventure motorcycling. You have to meet my friend Sterling. And so when we were all back in Seattle, he introduced me to Sterling. We had coffee, and Sterling said, hey, yeah, this is a great project. I'd love to film this. I'd love to be a part of it, but somebody's got to pay me. And I was,
more than $250.
Yeah, I wasn't going to pay more. I knew it was more than that. And anyway, so he said, you got to meet my guys, my friends at TourTech. And so that's when we got to meet each other. It was like serendipity. It was meant to be.
Mm-hmm.
We really had the right people to film it. We had the right people to help fund it. Tom, thank you very much for recognizing the vision and saying, yes, I'll get my checkbook out. And you, Paul, for having the vision and seeing a bigger vision, even bigger than I saw at the time, to where this thing could go. And the snowball started to roll at that point, and it turned into something really big. So,
And Tom, so this is the original shirt from the original Washington expedition, and at that point it was WBCDR. Tom, and you were the one who came up with the idea for abbreviating the states and using the WABDR, right? And that was a great change for branding for the BDR organization.
Well, it was shorter than that. And then also it used the postal code WA and ID and UT, for the western states. And after we came back from the first WBDR, I went out and I bought all of the domains for all the western states. because right there, I knew we were going to do one every year. And that kind of started the thing right there.
It did, yeah. Yeah, we took, this one came from the original Oregon that we didn't create. They went WABDR, and we decided to do that. This is the first shirt. It's pretty funny how it's not even.
Yeah, that was our expedition shirts that now have the wrong name for
which
the
is-
route that we created. But
It's
yeah.
funny, but yeah.
So Bryce, let's talk about the formula for creating the routes and whether it has changed over the years.
Yeah, it hasn't changed that much for me. I still make routes the same way. I'd say I would definitely have some more software packages, some digital maps that are at my disposal. I use Onyx maps a lot because I need to know land ownership, and there's really no other solution out there for that. So Onyx, and in addition to that, their maps oftentimes will show easements in places of public lands and between private lands, and it's become a tool I use a lot. But I still use paper maps. I still use Google Maps. I still use Garmin software. So it hasn't changed that much. But when we started this organization, we were working on routes we knew. So Washington's my backyard. I've spent a lot of time in Washington. It was very easy for me. I was the local expert for that one. But I'm not the local expert in all the other states. And so as we started to get into other states, and now we're working in almost all the states at the same time right now, we need local experts on the ground. And so what's changed for me is that I'm constantly delegating fun to all these locals that I get introduced to through our adventure motorcycling network, and people say, hey, if you're working in this area, you have to reach out to this person because they are the expert for adventure motorcycling in XYZ. And I reach out to them, I build a rapport with them, we sign NDAs if that's if we're going to go to the next step, and then we start diving into the routes. So what's changed is we just have this network of volunteers all over North America right now working for us. And I said it earlier, I think it might be as many as 100 different people working for us right now at the same time on a bunch of different routes. It's crazy.
How long does it take for a single route to make one route? What does it normally take from very beginning conception to filming it?
Best case scenario, you could probably do this in a couple of years, but I don't know if we've ever pulled that off. It usually takes 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 years. I mean, it can take a long time. And I've said this many times to our board, our organization, is that it's very easy for me to give a route to like 75% or so. But it's very hard to get it all the way to 100%.
Yeah.
And it's got to be at 100% before we film it.
Yep.
And so it's that last bit that I'm constantly working on, all over the place with a lot of different people. And so it's a lot of work. Yeah.
So there's this iconic photo on the Bethel Ridge on the original Washington BDR. When you look at that photo, like what do you guys feel? And have the expeditions changed since then?
Yeah. That photo is iconic. I think that was day 2 of the Washington BDR. First day we were in the trees. There were some peekaboo views of volcanoes off in the distance, but nothing really that exciting. But that marked the beginning of when the route really got pretty wild and fun. Bethel Ridge, big reveals, ruts that were big enough to swallow whole motorcycles, beautiful views. You got more of that jagged rock sort of terrain. Things got pretty exciting. The film got a lot more interesting. There was some tip overs and crashes and things like that, but that was really where sort of the whole BDR vibe started, I think, at that lookout.
Yeah, I get really nostalgic when I see that. That was. Did we even have that on the cover of the first map? I think we did.
Yeah.
It's a great shot. Helge shot that.
Yep.
He set it up from a long ways away. It took us quite a bit to pull that one off, but it was really a special time. Yeah.
What about the expeditions? Have they changed at all?
I think that they have gotten, in the beginning, it was a bunch of guys having fun. We were also kind of shooting a film, but it was really, we camped every night. We had a lot of fun. We generally knew each other pretty well. And these days, the teams are much larger. Just the members are much, we'll have 10 or 11 people in the film doing the ride, and then we'll have 3 or 4 dedicated film crew. So we just have a lot more cameras. We have a lot more deliverables to stakeholders, sponsors, things like that. So things are much more structured, much more serious, and much more professional. The films have gotten a lot better, but it's still a lot of fun, but it's a little more work maybe than it used to be.
It is for sure.
Yeah.
Yeah.
We can't do the 200-mile days that Bryce always wants to do these days with all the moving pieces and that.
Yeah,
Yeah.
we can't camp on back-to-back days, even though we might want to. There's just too much for our filmmakers to do, and they need time in a hotel where they can charge equipment and download data off all the cards and that kind of stuff. So
Yeah.
So over the 15 years, we have watched not only the BDR organization grow, but also the adventure motorcycling segments. Touring, rental, gear companies have grown alongside BDR. So how did the industry change compared to what it was before?
I mean, I think the biggest change is the number of bikes that are in the segment. You know, early on, BMW had a few bikes, KTM had a few, and there wasn't a whole lot else.
There's a lot of KLRs.
Oh yeah, the KLR. I can't forget about the KLR.
Good point.
But the sheer number of models available now, just about every manufacturer has several models. I mean, there's a dozen or more legitimate good options for riding BDR, whereas back in the day there were really only a few. And then a ton of aftermarket companies there. It's really been almost a gold rush of companies coming into the segment because it has been high growth and pretty hot. So I think those are some of the big changes I've seen.
yeah.
Tom, anything from you? You were the OG of the adventure motorcycling industry, really, at that time.
Yeah, and I didn't invent it. You know, I was just, I met these people, a lot of our customers that go around the world on BDRs for 2 years, you know, but our vision was a different thing where a person could have a full-time job, you know, and get a week off from work and do one of these BDRs, you know, and we thought, what a great thing if they could choose from 4 or 5 different states and do one every year, you know, and that's kind of how it
Most of what you saw in adventure motorcycling back then was people riding to Prudhoe Bay or riding around the world or riding to South America like Ina did, these epic quit your job, sell your house, go big. That was adventure riding, and what we did was make it simple, where you could do a turnkey adventure vacation with 1 week, and we gave you the videos and all the planning resources to get your buddies excited about it and to join it. And we have so many people come see us at trade show booths that say, man, I saw your videos, the next thing I knew I was in a motorcycle dealership, I bought a bike, and now I'm super into it. So I think we really were a big gateway for a lot of people. We broadened the market and got more people riding these things in their backyard off-road.
Yeah, and in the beginning, we thought, you know, we made the Washington route, and it was 500 and something miles, and we thought that we wanted more miles, but that was too much, we thought.
Yeah.
And it's funny how now it turned out that that's one of the shorter ones, you know, and the people want more.
Yeah,
you know?
We have 1,200-mile routes now, and,
Yeah.
and quite a
1,300.
Yeah, so we have a lot that are in the 1,000+ range. So,
But that may have been the choice we had in the beginning to sell the people on this concept.
Yeah, we made it-
was that it was doable.
yeah, we made it very approachable and doable, and
Yeah.
gave them the tools to make it happen easily.
Yeah, we have BDRXs that are longer than the old Washington.
Yeah, true.
Yeah.
So in addition to creating the routes and preserving adventure riding opportunities, another mission of the BDR is to support local economies in the small towns along the BDRs. And in fact, a couple of years ago, we did our second economic study, and we found that over $60 million was spent by BDR riders to support local economies along our routes in these small towns. So that's
Per year.
that is per year. And so
year.
as we create more routes, we obviously create more economic stimulus in these local communities. So, Tom, I know you're very passionate about it. You know, why is supporting small towns a part of the BDR identity, and why is it important that we as riders support local communities?
Well, some of these segments, they're reliant on that gas station still being there. You know, in the stores, for food, well, you can carry some food, but you really can't carry the gas you need. And so these little stores, like, they're not living high on the hog, you know. If you go there, you can tell they need every dollar that comes in, you know, even if their stuff is expensive. You know, if their gas is $6 a gallon, that's what it costs them to get it there. And if their Oreos are $8, that's what it costs. They have to jump in their car after they close and go get stuff for their store. And the local people rely on those stores too. You know, and so like if BDR guys come in and buy everything, what do the local people have? So I don't know. The whole thing works if you spend more money there.
Yeah, absolutely. And a lot of these are small communities that have lost industry. They've lost mining or timber, and they're hanging on by a thread. And so when we create a route and we send, 1,000 or 1,500 riders through there in a given season, it really makes these businesses viable and dramatically improves the chances that they will stay open. Like the guy, our friend in Ardenvor, that Ardenvor store, every time we come through there, he tells us he would have closed if it wasn't for the Washington BDR.
Yeah. And their faces light up when we tell them we're from the BDR organization. And they tell us they love BDR riders. So anyway.
Yeah, I love the segment in the upcoming Washington film that we're going to show where what is the town where
Conconelli.
where there's no gas station, but the mayor of town keeps gas for BDR riders.
Yeah.
That's just
It's a great
amazing.
story.
Yeah. So, for me, BDR is a family, and I know for all of you as well. And now we have a second generation of BDR riders, your sons and your daughters who are riding BDRs. And in fact, we had Kyle, your son, and Daniel Paul, your son, join us on the Montana expedition. Kyle now works with me in the office, in the BDR office. And Tom, you rode the new Washington route with your daughter. And I think you rode WABDR with both of your daughters, right, at this point?
Yeah, I rode it with my older daughter when she turned 16.
Yeah.
And that was a long time ago.
So how does it feel to have this new generation of BDR riders coming in?
Oh, it's great. It's great to have your kids actually want to do something that you want, It's really fun.
Yeah, I feel like we were very fortunate to have our kids on the Montana BDR filming expedition, and I think we learned something, right? I think we learned that the dynamic of having younger people in the film was really important. We had never done that before. I mean, we had some 30-somethings or something like that, but not these 20-year-old, 20-something kids, and seeing them together, and then our interactions with our own kids, riding, hanging out, all this stuff, and then also the seriousness of the filming expedition too. But it was just a very special thing to do with your kid.
I don't know when you or I will get the opportunity to spend 10 days with our kids ever again, at the ages they are. So it was pretty special. And I guess the cool thing, circling it back to the BDR, is the BDR, our mission has always been to create and preserve off-road riding opportunities for the community and for the next generation. And so this year we finally got to kind of make that happen symbolically by bringing our own kids on the route with us and doing the ride. And it was really just the time of a lifetime. That movie comes out a little bit later this winter. That's the Montana BDR.
In February.
In February, yeah.
Yep. So what are your hopes for the BDR for the next 15 years?
I just hope it keeps thriving.
Bryce hopes we actually publish all of the routes that he's got on the back burner simmering and trying to get done.
Yeah, by my calculations, we might have 80 routes at the 30-year mark. But I don't know if we'll be able to keep that up. But either way, it's going to be a substantial number.
Yeah.
And then we need to start realizing as an organization that we're going to be, I don't know what percentage it's going to be, but the majority of our work is going to be managing the routes that we have already released instead of doing what I do and finding the new ones and putting those out there. It's just, that'll be a smaller sliver of what we do.
Yep, absolutely. And the other thing that always comes to mind is the fact that we absolutely rely on public lands, BLM land, Forest Service land, and they have been increasingly under threat. There's been talk of selling off some of these public lands, especially in the last year, and that is something that is just absolutely critical to the BDR for us to exist and for these routes to be enjoyed by the community. It's reliant on public land, so we did step up and really fight for that, as did a lot of other user groups, hikers and bikers and hunters and fishermen, and definitely the adventure motorcycle crowd and off-road motorcycle crowd came together to fight that. But that's something that's really critical and something that really bears heavily on our future.
Bryce, but just to go back to what you said about managing the routes, people might not realize what are we doing to manage the routes?
Yeah, well, and that's why we're here today, is to talk about what we've done with the Washington BDR. Almost on a weekly basis, we are hit with some change on some route out there that becomes a new fire that we have to put out, and not a literal fire, but
Sometimes.
it is a literal fire. But it's something that's an emergency. Okay, we might have a closure here, and is it true? We got to validate it. One of our volunteers goes out and rides it, and then we find a way to get around it, and it's a lot of work. When I say manage, I mean there's other organizations that make routes and put them out there, and they just sit there and they don't get the attention. We make sure that when people download our tracks, we'll do our best to make sure that we think it'll go all the way through without any blockages. And if we find out there is one, and sometimes we find out late, it does happen, but we want to make sure we address it as soon as we can.
Yeah.
And that's a lot of work. It takes a lot of time.
Yeah.
Yeah. Well, my hope is that we have enough money in the bank
Yes.
to produce all the routes that you
Yeah.
have in the pipeline, which is over 40.
Yeah, it's well over 40.
Yeah.
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 Speaking of that, where do people go if they want to throw in some money on a chance to win this bike?
Yeah. So it's just ridebdr.com/Triumph Tiger.
Okay.
Kyle, maybe you can throw that in the chat.
Yeah.
Okay, Bryce, so let's talk about the improvements that we've made to the Washington route. We have this handy map that we're going to throw on the screen, and
And
You
I don't
tell-
know if I can point to the right place. I'll
Just
talk,
tell us generally,
Yeah, I'll talk
yeah.
more in generalities. So we've done the new tracks we're going to put out are going to have 11 changes. A couple of those are changes where we moved an alt harder to the main route or main route to alt harder, those kinds of things. But there are, by my calculators, there's 6 pretty substantial changes in here that I think materially improve the route. And we've been saving these up over time. We could have done these piecemeal over time, but I knew there was going to be a point in time where we could batch these up and do what we're essentially calling the Washington 2.0, the Washington BDR 2.0. And so yeah, these routes, I could go through them, but I'm not going to. You'll see them in the film. But they're an opportunity for us to add sections that we think substantially improve the route. More dirt roads, less pavement, more views, more campgrounds, remote places, some pretty tough roads in a couple places.
And some roads that just have not been used very much. They have pine cones on them and needles. I mean, it was like a powder day almost. Just kind of, you felt like no one had been on this road for a long time. And so you added some of that in there, which was a huge upgrade.
Yeah.
so for people who have ridden the Washington BDR maybe a few times, you think they'll find something new on this route?
Yeah. I mean, I just rode it again myself, and it felt like a different thing. Yeah. So you guys did too, right?
Yeah.
I mean,
Yeah.
you felt like this was
Definitely different and improved.
Yeah. So I was pretty excited to show you some of those sections. It was really fun.
Watching that film, I just found new appreciation for the Washington route. And I know it's one of your favorites, and it wasn't one of my favorites, but now I'm really excited to ride it next year.
Yeah, we added about 20% to the length of it. And as Tom pointed out, it was one of the shortest routes we had. So at least got it up there a little bit higher.
Yeah.
Okay. Well, I know people are excited to watch the film, but before we roll the film, I just wanted to give you guys a timeline of what's coming up for the BDR in the next couple of months. On December 2nd, we have our film festival and the Tiger 900 bike giveaway. So that is Tuesday, December 2nd. It's a Giving Tuesday. So join us for the film festival. And if you were planning on submitting your 100-second film and just haven't gotten to it, we have actually extended the deadline. So you have one more week to submit your film to the film festival. So please join us on December 2nd there. Next up, we have a holiday surprise for all of you. We have one more BDRX route that we're going to be releasing in December, and that is Lost Coast BDRX in Northern California. I rode that route with Jocelyn and Danielle from Alpine Stars. It was 3 of us, all women crew. We also had a new woman filmmaker on this film, and it's just an outstanding route. I really hope that you will join us. This is on Saturday, December 13th. We're actually doing a live all-day event in San Francisco at the Scuderia West. So if you live in the area, join us in person. Otherwise, join us during the live broadcast on that day. And then next up is the big one. It's the Montana BDR release, a route that everybody is really looking forward to. It's the final piece of the Western BDR puzzle. So we will be releasing that on February 7th in Bozeman, Montana. It will be a live premiere and no YouTube premiere. I'm sorry, it'll be an in-person event. And then the film tour will start at dealerships across the nation through May. Next up, we have Ozarks BDR X. We're planning to release that in March. This looks like an incredible route, and for those of you who like more technical riding, there are 10 alternate harder sections on that route, and I'm just really looking forward to seeing the film. Then we have Adirondacks BDR X in New York. That's going to be released, I think, in May. Right now we're planning to do a live release of that at a rally in New York. Americade, that's right, thank you. And finally, our annual BDR fundraiser will be May 14th through the 17th at the Big Bear Lake in Southern California. This is going to be an outstanding event with rides in the San Bernardino National Forest. So we'll be putting out more information about this event shortly. And now we're almost ready to roll the film. Stay with us after the film for some Q&A, and then we also have some more updates to the Oregon route that we will talk about, and we have a 4-minute film to show about the route, the new Oregon route as well. So let's roll the film.
So it's been 15 years since the first BDR project where we created the Washington Backcountry Discovery Route. 15 years later, we went back and did a major renovation to the Washington BDR. We had the idea to try and get the original gang back together and film kind of a WABDR 2.0 15-year reunion things. And we spent several days out there reminiscing about the old days and just reflecting on the humble beginnings of the BDR and just how big and successful it's become.
We do make it easy in some instances that, hey, here's a route, go ride it. But I think people like the fact that they know they're still going to have this wild adventure that's going to be unique to them.
I was really excited to see some of the new sections that Bryce found. Bryce has now unlocked some new stuff for us to enjoy.
So I'm here in the forests of Washington State, just south of Mount Rainier. And in this video, we're going to ride the new Washington Backcountry Discovery Route, show you some of the changes, and highlight 15 years of backcountry discovery routes.
The updated Washington BDR is here, about 20% longer, with more dirt, more views, and more places to explore and camp. As the track moves north, you'll see new forest sections near Rimrock Lake, a fun climb up Tronson Ridge, and a loop to Stellico Lookout Tower with one of the best views in the state. Further north, new stretches above Lake Chelan connect to quiet campgrounds and hidden back roads. And in the final section, we move the route to a more remote area with distant views and epic passes. Some sections have changed, some just got better, but the heart of the WABDR remains the same, the first route that inspired it all.
So way back in 2008, there was already a backcountry discovery route in Oregon, and we assembled a team. There were 4 of us that went down and made a video about that ride. That video was so successful that it encouraged us to create a Washington backcountry discovery route. So in 2010, we rode the first BDR, the Washington BDR. We created a movie about it, we created a map, and that's how the BDR started. Every year since then, we've created a new BDR route across a different state. And the idea with this project was to bring the band back together so that we could ride this route, show you guys some of the changes to the Washington Backcountry Discovery Route, and highlight what's happened with the BDR over the last 15 years.
So we got Bryce back on his original 990. We got Tom Myers back on his original HP2 that were in the film. And then Sterling and I joined in on our current bikes. A few of the guys from the original WABDR who initially said they could join, and 2 of them were not able to make it in the end. But the cool thing was that 4 of the 5 co-founders of the Backcountry Discovery Routes, us 4 were back together. So it was kind of cool that it was just the core nucleus of the BDR that kind of got brought back together for one final project.
So over the last couple of years, I've been working on the Washington BDR. It was our first route, and in hindsight, it was too short. And now we're making routes that are 1,300 miles long. So yeah, 9 different changes coming up. There shouldn't be too much crazy hard stuff.
Famous last words. Famous.
I know, I'm bad at that.
Bryce is riding his KTM 990 Adventure, which was the bike that he rode filming the WABDR.
You're probably never going to sell this bike, right?
No, I'm gonna keep it. I love it. I'd put it in my living room if my wife would let me.
So Tom has got the HP2, and this is the bike he rode on the WABDR as well. Has not ridden this bike in 8 years apparently. And I was in between bikes when we filmed the WABDR, but right now I'm riding my 2020 Husqvarna 701 LR. We're going to be on the trail for 3 full days and nights. Let's get on the trail and see what the WABDR looks like these days.
New and improved.
We're going to be heading on the south side of Rimrock Lake. I guess Bryce found some new roads that will help us avoid a pretty long section of pavement on the northern side of the lake.
What we had was perfectly fine. We're just trying to make it a little bit better.
Okay, this is a nice stretch of road. Looks like everyone's pulled over here to check out the view.
But what we have right here is this beautiful view of Mount Rainier. You can't see much of the lake, unfortunately, but we'll get more really good views of the lake later.
Now we're down at lake level on a little bit of pavement, riding just a brief bit of pavement and back into the dirt. Bryce is stretching his good knee, which is now his bad knee.
I feel old. My back and my knee and everything else.
Now, Bryce has quite a reputation for telling us that there's nothing difficult up ahead, and then you get into it and you realize, holy cow, this is actually pretty challenging. Well, Bryce just described this section as a fun roller road. Sounds like we've got some water bars or some up and down. So not a bad first change to the route. Now we're coming up to the turn to the Bethel Ridge Road. Some beautiful mountain wildflowers up here off the side of the road. Okay, so this route up ahead of us here is the Alt Harder Bethel Ridge, and we're just going to go up to the first switchback and check out the view from there. What are some of you guys' memories of Bethel Ridge?
Oh, I remember. It is one of my favorites for sure because of the views and also because it went through this pine needle trail through the forest.
Now, I remember a scene where we all stopped. It was a very scenic vista. Was that on this section?
It is. We're on the first switchback here. There's several more.
That sheer cliff that we got the iconic photo of all the bikes out there. I think it might have even made it on like a DVD cover or something.
Back when we had DVDs of all the routes, right?
Yeah.
Man, how things have changed.
If I recall, Helge got a puncture somewhere and we fixed his flat tire.
That's exactly right, and the likelihood of getting a pinch flat up here is high.
Well, let's get back on the main route and check out this new little section you got up ahead.
This is change number 2. While it's still gravelly, it's not quite as wide, and it just felt a little better.
Apparently this is just a little change, something slightly better than the original. A nice little section of pavement here along the mountain.
We tell our members when they come into a little town like this, don't look at this stuff and say, oh, I can get this for half at Costco. You're coming through their town, and the fact that their town exists is why we put the route through here, and you got to buy stuff now to support that town. And that's what we tell them.
Okay, we just had lunch in Nile, and now we're getting on dirt roads that will take us over towards Ellensburg. All right, so Bryce just tells us that there's potentially a very difficult section right ahead of us, something that I do remember struggling with myself many years ago. Kind of the thing that I was not looking for on this trip.
You know, I've been riding 350s and, 260-pound bikes. And I got out here riding and I felt pretty rusty on this big bruiser. It's Bryce being exactly like he was 15 years ago. He just lulled us into this, and I bring the big fat R1200 GS because I thought this was going to be an old man ride. It's just like 15 years ago.
It's interesting for me to think about the differences between being a younger motorcyclist and one that has a little more experience and maturity. I think when I was young, quite naturally, I gravitated towards wanting to ride a little faster and push the limits. Only over time, as you ride further and get into some challenges and difficulties, do you actually maybe start to learn some lessons. And that's kind of how I feel now, that I have learned a lot through motorcycling. It's taught me a lot about self-sufficiency, courage, stamina, endurance. When you get older, I think you appreciate those things maybe a little bit more and can look back and see how a lifetime of motorcycling can have an impact on your life. Oh, yeah, I made it. Whew. Gotta find a place to camp north of Ellensburg here. Asphalt's pretty broken up in places. It's beautiful with all these purple flowers out. Now we're heading out to Lions Rock. So this is a place that I remember from the original filming expedition, although I do think that we came up here and it was misty and we couldn't see anything.
Yeah.
It was one of those kind of let's get the heck out of here moments.
Yeah.
It just wasn't that comfortable. And
You got to come out the edge of it to be able to see the views, because otherwise you're just going to cross over this big broad mountain and not take advantage of the elevation.
I notice all the trees that are burned down. What happened, Tom?
That was the Table Mountain Complex fire. It was 40-something thousand acres here and 260,000 acres burned that year.
And we really just tell everybody to check our route page, stay on top of the fire layers on our maps.
Well, I have a cold beer with me that's getting warmer by the minute, so let's go find a place to camp.
Sounds good.
Oh, this is chunky. Oh. Okay, this is a place I remember. Haney Meadow, 5,500 feet. What in the hell are we getting ourselves into here? Steep, sandy two-track with roots? We gotta do an alt harder just to get to our campsite.
Cool spot though, huh?
Yeah. We've made it up here to one of the best places to camp. I mean, you can just see forever and ever and ever. Beautiful spot. We're gonna have a nice camp out tonight.
What this ride meant to me was getting back on the bike and camping. It's been several years since I've done this. I did it so much for so many years, and then I got into remodeling a house and a few things like that. And so I got this call to do this reunion, and I thought, boy, I really got to get this bike running and get back out there.
How does it feel to be back on the HP2 after many, many, many years?
It was pretty dicey at first, but I'm getting used to it again.
So these days I'm riding a Tenere 700, but I thought I'd get the 990 out for this because this is what I rode on the original Washington BDR trip that we did. This thing's helped build a lot of BDRs, and it's always been trustworthy. I love this bike.
Some classic Washington backcountry discovery route roads here. Look at these views.
So, but that's right here at the Devil's Gulch Overlook. So that's me in the second spot. Andrew's out front, and Sterling, I think that might be you right there. 15 years ago. It's hard to believe.
This is such a classic part of the Washington backcountry discovery route. The way that this road just twists and turns through the forest here with these big, big views off to the left. Big old trees here. Here's another spot I remember filming. There's this tight switchback here and this rock wall. I remember all the bikes parked down here. That was a filming spot for sure. All right, here we are in Wenatchee, and it's frickin' hot out today. We picked up Paul Gillian back in Wenatchee.
Well, it's good to be on dirt again. It's been a while.
Yeah. I'm glad you're here, man.
It's the roots of the BDR back together once again.
back when we didn't know what we were going to do next.
No idea how much work we were creating for ourselves back then, did we?
Right.
No, we had no idea we were going to do it.
Just started heading up the dirt road towards Chumstick Mountain. Such a beautiful road, just climbing up here.
I have to say, this is one of my favorite sections. When you're climbing out of the valley, you kind of get into where you can see the arid part of the state. To the west is the Cascade Mountains. It's just gorgeous.
We have made it up to the top of Chumstick Mountain here.
Yeah, so we are at 5,800 feet. Really nice to get up high.
So what do you remember about this location right here?
I just remember it being really windy, and I remember holding banners up, and I remember Helge kind of walking down the hill to get an extreme angle.
We have got a long ways to go today, so best get back on the bike and put some miles under our belts. This road today has a little bit of everything: sand, rocks, gravel, cool section of forest here. Nice little brief way to cool off in the midday sun. Duck for branches in the line of fire. Okay, I think we're coming down into Ardenvohr now. Ah, the old Ardenvohr store. Well, it does not look like they are open today.
This store has been feeding and gassing up BDR riders for 15 years. And when we've talked to this guy over the years, he said that he would not have stayed in business if it wasn't for BDR riders. So we ran out of water, or almost ran out of water. We still have like 2.5 hours to get to Chelan. So Keith was kind enough to help us out, let us fill up some water out of his little Coleman jug there in the back of his work truck.
We do need water, and thank you very much.
Yeah, no problem. So thanks, Keith. Appreciate it.
No problem.
So this is the new section past Ardenvohr. This appears that it does not get used that often. There's parts of this road that are really overgrown. Then you just have these big views.
It's this cool 2-track that's got grass growing in the middle. It feels like nobody ever goes on this road. Sparsely populated pine trees and just these rolling kind of meadow hills and beautiful views. It's really nice. You could just tell that people do not ride that. It just had this sort of virgin feel to it. It was like fresh tracks on a powder day kind of feeling.
Nice addition to the Washington BDR. Okay, this is the last little bit going up to the lookout.
It's going to end at the Stellico Fire Lookout, which is a structure you can walk up and get a view of the area.
But it's been decommissioned for that purpose, and now it's being used as a rental. You can probably get online, and you could book this like you could a campground, and this could be where you stay for the night. Pretty amazing place.
I'd love to stay there for a night. How cool.
Now, we're going to be riding into the night unless plans change. We're hoping to make it to Chelan. We're saying right now that it's going to take us 1.5 hours of riding to get there, so we'll see. Well, this is pretty cool. Right up here, I'm on this ridge overlooking Lake Chelan. It's off there to my right. Got some pretty big drop-offs in between the trees and just beautiful, magnificent. Look at this. Oh, it's so beautiful right now. Look at this light filtering in through the trees. Wow.
Well, it's coming up on 8 o'clock, so we're getting our hours in today. Just got to a spot where you can see Lake Chelan, and the sun is still on it, so it's blue and beautiful.
But anyway, we've got our work cut out for us. We got to get way the hell down there.
got crackers and chili.
Well, this is probably like night number 100 that we've spent on the trail together. You started at 5 o'clock.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, woke up at 4:30, was on the bike at 5, and we knocked off just before 9.
Yeah.
It's a long day. We did not plan to camp last night, but we had enough to get by, which is something you should always do when you're riding BDRs. Always carry enough water and food to bivouac one night when you weren't planning, because it happens.
All right, here we go. Day 3, first ride out of camp. I'm in the lead, gonna find a place to set up and film these guys. One of the great things about camping is that you wake up and you get on the trail right away. You just wake up there and you get right on the trail as soon as you're ready to go. It's pretty rocky here. Oh yeah. What a magnificent road, right? This is quite something. What a dramatic view. Lots of big loose rocks here. Slow speed and precision. You just don't want to lose control on something like this. Whoa. Oh my goodness. It's really easy to get pumped out on this kind of riding. Welcome to the jungle. Well, that was fun. The jungle. I think we're out of it now. Back on the pavement, heading down to Lake Chelan. This is about a 25-mile section of pavement, and pretty soon we'll be going through Chelan, and we can stop there and get supplies or get a meal, get some gas, things like that.
You really think about it, Lake Chelan is like a focal point of this route. It really is. I mean, we're close to this lake for many miles. I mean, it's incredible how much. The deepest lake in the state and one of the deepest in the country. It's glacier carved. The depth of it is below sea level. With the dam they've added at the end, it's about 1,500 feet deep now.
So this is after Lake Chelan, the road up to Cooper Mountain.
So here we are at Cooper Summit. First time that we came through here, we had the original FJ. It was Don Stefanian's. Don's a really important part of the story. When I went to the original Overland Expo for the Overland Flag competition, Don came over to me and said, "You got to meet my friend Sterling. He makes films." And so he was the glue that connected it all together.
Oh, that's cool.
Yeah, so Don went out of his way to make sure I knew about Sterling and that he could be the one to film the project that we were trying to do for Overland. And then a little bit later, I'm meeting with Sterling, and Sterling says, "You got to meet my guys at Touratech." Yeah. Super nice guy, and he was an important part of the first route.
And I think he was originally going to photograph it for us, and then something happened, he couldn't make it, and we called Helge last minute to fill in, and so Helge filled in and was our first route photographer and set the standard that everybody had to follow for decade and a half since. Yes. And we invited Helge on this trip, but he couldn't make it.
Yeah, Helge had tennis elbow.
From too much paddling, I think.
I think so.
Too much kayaking.
He actually had to miss a kayaking adventure that he was going to do in addition to this. Yeah. So it's a pretty serious injury, and we're sad that he's not here.
Helge and Sterling were a team and did a lot of around the world photography on that. So they were ideal as videographers and photographers. Yeah, and I remember a time you, Bryce, you and Andrew came to Touratech, and you guys thought we weren't even going to talk to you. And on the other hand, we couldn't believe the luck of you guys coming to us with this project. It was awesome.
Isn't that funny?
All the pieces fell into place, and
BDR was supposed to happen because of that.
Yeah. Tom is like the OG for camping off a motorcycle. He was the guy that did the Oregon BDR, the original one, way back in the day, and he was the first guy to write about that on the internet. It was the only real information about it, and he used to help people get tracks for it and that. So anyways, he is the OG, and he's the guy that really backed the BDR from the beginning. And this is the first time I've had a chance to ride with Tom in a long time, and he's telling me things that I'm like, "Tom, you told me that 15 years ago, and I've been teaching people that and training people on these things that I've learned from Tom a decade and a half ago." So he has immense knowledge. His DNA is a part of the BDR, and it's been fun following him, eating his dust again like we used to do back in the day.
So this is the new section that Bryce just added around Lake Chelan, and somehow I missed the turn, and so the rest of the group got up ahead of me. Thought I would roll a little helmet cam on this section so you can at least see what it looks like, get it in the movie. And look at that view of Lake Chelan. My goodness, that is impressive. And then we're back in the forest. I just passed the rest of the team. I'm up ahead again, heading to the campground. That's the next waypoint that I'm going to pass.
Having come back 15 years later, I scouted this earlier this summer, realizing it's so much fun to ride, and it's great terrain. It just belonged on the route from the beginning. So here we are finally making that change and adding it in. So.
All right, this is the South Navarre campground, and it's a really nice campground with incredible views. A good place to camp, I think, if you're coming out this far.
Oh, it was great getting the original team back together. Really fun riding with all 4 of these guys. It's grown so much now, we don't all get to ride together. Yeah, I got to get back to Seattle, get ready for the Montana BDR, so I got to check out.
Yeah.
We're gonna miss you, man.
Yeah, thanks, guys.
Okay, here we go on a new section. This is all new from here until Twist.
We're heading up to Foggy Dew Campground. Once we get up to getting close to the Twist River Valley, we are going to take Poor Man's Creek and descend that road, and it's a hoot. So that completes this additional section, and it'll be fun to ride.
Okay, it's 6 o'clock. We're gonna keep riding probably another 60 miles or so, heading into the dirt section between here and Concanoli.
We have a new section that starts here. And what we do is we're going to go up this road here. It's Paradise Hill Road. And then we're going to come back on a little national forest road that is completely hidden and seldom used and very fun to ride.
Trees across the road, overhanging branches.
It doesn't add a ton of miles, but it adds some interest to this section of the route. So,
well, that was a short little section through the woods there, and now back on single lane paved mountain road. What a contrast to go from that dark forest into this burned out open area.
At this point of the trip, I could keep going forever, Do we have to go home now?
Okay, here we go. We're gonna head up towards Concanoli. What the BDR has meant to me is that it has completely transformed or changed my relationship to the backcountry. Doing all of the BDRs has really opened my eyes to what the backcountry is, how it's managed, how it's used, how you travel through it, and just a whole host of other things. So this, I believe, is the Ruby grade. It's a very steep downhill with some switchbacks. I remember that it felt very adventurous the first time we rode this. Okay, I think we've made it down to the bottom. Ruby, Queen City of the Okanagan County Silver Boom.
This area here, it says, was a county road 60 feet wide, both sides solidly lined with business places for a quarter mile. I mean, look at around, it's just a forest now, but this was a hopping little town, and it's really cool to ride through stuff like this.
Well, this is downtown Concanoli. The biggest building in town is the Fire and Rescue. How's it going?
Good. How are you? You're Sterling, right?
I'm Sterling.
Yeah.
You guys just getting started on your BDR ride?
Yeah, we just started on the north end and just working south.
Had a good breakfast here in Concanoli at the Sit and Bull Saloon. And what we've learned is that there is no gas in town anymore. The gas pumps are closed, but the mayor now has gas.
He keeps gas around for BDR riders who need it. So I put some here and put a little sign out.
But that's just pretty cool that someone like the town mayor would do that for BDR. It just shows how important BDR is to the community here.
Yeah, we mainly rely on tourism, so.
We like having you stay in town.
So this is the start of a new section just right outside of Concanoli. Nice buck. Just ran up the side of the hill. Did you see that?
Just going up over the passes and into a valley that nobody can get to, except those who go on this road. And then you go up out of that valley and over another pass and there's another one. Anyway, it was fantastic.
Now we are coming up to Baldy Pass.
I'd known about it and thought about doing it for a while, but now that we're doing all these updates, this fit in and I got to do it. So finally, 15 years later. Very dramatic mountains, rocky mountains.
This is the high country in Washington. It's beautiful.
It's epic.
Well, that does it. That was the end of the last new section. This is probably going to be my last helmet camera update from this ride. Well, we just made it to the end of the last new section of the Washington BDR that we wanted to share with you guys.
We did most of the Washington BDR on this trip, and I feel good about it. With what we did, I calculated it 600 miles in 3.5 days. That's pretty good.
The new bits that I got to ride are fantastic. I had a blast on it, and some of the original sections we got to ride are still super good and fun, and it's just a beautiful part of the world. So I hope a lot of people use the 2.0 WABDR edition as a reason to come back and check it out if they've already ridden it. And if they haven't, they really need to come check it out.
Yeah, I'd say we held our own for being 15 years older than when we did it the first time. I didn't really notice any negatives. If anything, we've got 15 more years of experience under our belt.
Getting back on this thing has been great, but now we're headed home and I'm back at home on the bike.
I mean, all these changes, it doesn't substantially change it, but it's a good refresh. And I think if you haven't ridden it in a while, go ride it again.
Thanks for watching, everybody. Get out and do the WABDR. We're going to head home from here.
Hello, everyone, and welcome back. We hope you enjoyed this short film. Let's answer some questions first, and then we'll move on to Oregon. Okay. So the one question we had in the chat is this a second Washington route, or is this an updated route? Can you clarify that for people?
Yeah. This is the old route with a bunch of changes. Yep. These are improvements we thought we'd bring in. It makes the route longer. We think it improves the route. It definitely swaps out some pavement for some dirt. But no, it's the same. We made the route about 20% longer and maybe changed the route. We were discussing maybe 30, 35%, so considered about a third is different.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. So it's worth going back and riding it.
Oh, absolutely. Yeah. Go back and ride it again.
Yeah, good. Okay, so before we go into Oregon, just a reminder and last chance to donate to the fundraiser to get this limited edition Washington shirt and be the first one to receive the updated Washington map, and also increase your chances of winning the Founders Edition Triumph Tiger 900 Rally Pro bike.
And real quick, Bryce, why should they want to win this bike?
You said something funny about it in Montana.
Just your general impressions. Like, what was it like riding this thing in Montana?
Well, yeah, I've described it as like a sport bike had sex with a dirt bike and made this incredible adventure bike. And I stick by that. I mean, it really is like this super sporty, super capable adventure bike. It's my favorite bike right now. I love this thing. I absolutely love this bike. So, yeah, somebody's going to get a good machine here.
Yeah, so it is a really good choice for riding BDR, so enter to win.
Yeah. I wish I could win it.
Yeah.
Damn it.
I'll put a good word in for you with Triumph Corporate.
That would be great. Thank you. I'd love to have one.
Okay, so now let's talk about the Oregon route. Yeah. There were some major updates to it. Tell us what they are and the reason behind those changes.
Yeah, I mean, this is the biggest change we've ever made to any route. And unlike Washington, where we did it because we wanted to, it was fun, we wanted to make the route
more current with different things. This one was more reactionary. It was basically forced upon us. Soon after we launched this route, the Bureau of Land Management started emailing us and sending us their public use restrictions, which we then put on our website through the route updates. And then, eventually after a couple of years, they were starting to point out that, our route had these 2-track roads in it, and essentially these PURs that were coming out, these restrictions, were closing off those roads. You weren't supposed to travel on them in any kind of vehicle, car, motorcycle, anything, side-by-sides, because of the risk of fire. And down there, we need to be sympathetic to that. The fires are real down there. They're very expensive. They've told us for every fire how expensive it is to fight these things. And these guys, the BLM people, were on our side. A lot of these guys are riders. They loved what we do. They knew about BDR and hated that these restrictions impacted our route. But we had to make the changes. And so what happened is we had to change sections, all of Section 1 and Section 2 and a portion of Section 3. So you're talking about a substantial portion of this route is now new. So basically what we did is we moved it from the high desert in southeast Oregon to the national forest that is more north of California, so substantially west. And the benefit to this, there are a couple of reasons we're excited about this, is that now the Northern California BDR connects to the Oregon BDR.
Nice.
Yeah. And then the second thing is that about the time that the Cascades start melting out snow-wise and people want to ride the full route, the southern part of the route down in the desert gets really hot.
Yeah.
And so now we've got a route that's higher elevation, it's in the woods, it's more shade, it's definitely cooler. And so it makes it easier to ride the whole thing.
So the whole route is now in one season, whereas before it was kind of tough to do them both in the same time.
It was.
Kind of like our Nevada route is that way, where the southern part is good one time of year, the northern part's better a different time of year.
Yeah.
And did you say that you're going to do something with the stuff we're cutting?
Yeah,
Is that going to be
we're actually
repurposed?
for the people who like that area, and I love it. I think riding down there in southeast Oregon is like incredible.
Yeah.
I mean, it's some of my favorite riding, but it's very rocky, it's very sandy and silty, and some people hate that stuff. So I get it. But we're going to save that for those who want an extreme BDRX in the future. We're going to save these portions down there and connect them up with the Steens Alboard. So. We're working on that now.
And
literally, people are out scouting as I'm talking.
Good. And so what time of the year will that X route be good?
That's a good question. We think that the fall is going to be the best time for that.
Okay.
Because Steens will still be open before the snows, and the high desert stuff will be a little bit cooler.
Okay. And what is the ideal range of dates, or when is this newly revised route for Oregon? When is it open? When's a good time to ride it?
I would say that it's going to be, July, because you still have the areas that need to melt out in the north, the central and north. So west of Bend and then up by Mount Hood, those places hold snow late.
Yep.
And so about the beginning of July, maybe late June
All the
if
way
you're lucky.
into September, October, right?
Yeah.
Okay. Yep. Perfect. Okay.
And so the updated tracks are now on the website.
Great.
People can download them.
Oh, okay.
We also issued an addendum. So now
the map.
For the map, yes.
Yeah.
So if you buy the Oregon map, it'll come with the new addendum. And if you already have an Oregon map, you can buy the addendum separately.
Okay. Good.
So, yep.
Nice.
All right, so we do have a 4-minute film about the changes, so we can roll that, and then we'll come back and answer last-minute questions, and we'll wrap up our evening.
Sounds good.
Sounds good.
I'm Nathan Fant, BDR Ambassador and co-architect of the Oregon BDR, and in this video I'm going to tell you about some new sections of the Oregon BDR and why we're changing them. For those of you who have ridden the Oregon BDR, you'll remember that once the snow melts up north, the southern sections can be pretty hot, while some of the best roads down south are closed due to fire risk. Since releasing the Oregon BDR, the BLM has been issuing their public use restrictions in early July each year. This effectively closes 2-track roads because of the fire risk with flammable vegetation until these restrictions are rescinded in the fall. We wanted to make this change so you can ride the whole route during the prime riding season without worrying about fire closures in the south once the snow melts in the Cascades. The new Oregon BDR Section 1 starts where the Northern California BDR leaves off, in New Pine Creek, California. This allows you to easily connect the Northern California BDR with the start of the Oregon BDR. The route climbs steeply into the Warner Mountains for some beautiful forested riding before dropping you just as quickly into Lakeview for a convenient food and gas stop. The route continues northwest through the Fremont National Forest, passing by Cottonwood Reservoir and continues on gravel 2-track roads through the forest for more spectacular views and great camping options. Enjoy the breathtaking wide-open views of Summer Lake as you descend into Paisley. Be sure to stop by Oregon's oldest operating saloon for some great pizza and burgers. There's also gas in town if you need it. If you're looking for a relaxing camping or cabin option, check out Summer Lake Hot Springs for a blissful evening of soaking under the stars. Section 2 starts by climbing the mountain out of the wide-open sage-filled desert of Paisley. You'll be greeted with dense pine forests along the beautiful Winter Ridge. If you're up for a bit more challenge in Section 2, there are 2 separate alt-harder routes along the Winter Ridge to test your skills and add some texture to your journey. The mix of challenging muddy 2-track and relentless rocky sections will keep you on your toes until you rejoin the main groomed gravel road 2-track. Wind your way through the forest and leave time to explore the 360-degree viewpoints before a textured ride on the rocky dam of the Thompson Reservoir. Don't forget to ride up to Rodman Rock for a great lookout before arriving in Chemult for gas and supplies. Section 3 is notable for its elevation gain. You'll enjoy a beautiful ride through dense pine forests and fragrant sagebrush high desert 2-track roads to the Twin Lakes of Newberry National Volcanic Monument. An optional side trip takes you to the 8,000-foot high Paulina Peak for a panoramic view of the Twin Lakes, the Cascades, and the high desert. In this area, you can find campgrounds, lodging, stores, and a wonderful restaurant. Make your way back through the pine trees and to the resort town of Sun River, where you can find everything you need to resupply. This is where you rejoin the original Oregon BDR Section 4 track, where you can get to continue your adventure along the original route. The Oregon BDR route is best ridden between early July through the end of September, depending on when the last snow melts in the Cascades. We can't wait to hear what you think of the new sections of the Oregon BDR. Join the official Facebook group page, tag us in your pictures, and remember to ride right, ride respectfully, yield to animals, and know your limits. We'll see you out there on the trail. Till next time.
And we're back. I hope you enjoyed that short little segment about the updates on the Oregon route. And it doesn't look like there were many questions in the chat about this update, and Kyle was nice enough to answer the ones that were in the chat. So as we wrap up here, any last minute thoughts from you guys? Anything we haven't covered?
No, well, let's just hit on the bike one last time and make sure people know how they can donate to win the bike. And you wanted to read the inscription on it, right?
Yes, so there's a plaque on it signed by the BDR Founders, and I think it summarizes what we've been talking about here and the passion behind the Backcountry Discovery Routes organization. So Paul, why don't you read?
Let's move it out.
Read that. Read
okay.
What it says.
Okay, so this is a special Founders Edition. So James Howard, our creative team, has done a complete graphic package on that, and part of what they included in the package is the following inscription. It says, "The vision of the Backcountry Discovery Routes founding fathers blended exploration, self-reliance, and cultural immersion in the backcountry. Their journey laid the groundwork for today's network of BDR routes and continues to inspire riders seeking freedom beyond the pavement."
Yay.
Yeah.
True to that.
Yeah.
All right. Well, I think we're ready to wrap it up,
Okay.
guys.
Yeah. Thank you so much for tuning in, and have a great evening, and get out there and ride BDR.
I hope to see you all here at this table 5 years from now to celebrate the 20th anniversary of the BDR.
I'll see what I can do.
Let's do
Thank
it.
you everyone for joining us. Have a good night.
Thanks.